Our journey began thousands of kilometres away from Spiti, in Pune, Maharashtra, where three friends made a choice: to leave the warmth of the plains and hunt for the white ghost of the Spiti Valley. We flew from Mumbai to Chandigarh, leaving our fears of cancelled flights behind as the mountains finally appeared on the horizon. Before the snow, there were the colours of Chakki. We explored the rivers and cliffs with Ankur Gupta, finding the beautiful wall creeper and documenting the rare birds that call these lower altitudes home. But the real mission was still ahead, thousands of feet higher. From Shimla, we joined our guides Tupkaji and began the grueling climb toward Chicham. The air grew thin, the temperature dropped into the negatives. We felt every foot of the 10,000 foot altitude gain. Each step felt like 50, and the oxygen we took for granted began to vanish. We reached Chicham Bridge at twilight, and there, in the shadows of the gorge, we saw them. Two siblings, anchored to a kill they had made just hours before. Through a 3,000mm lens, the ghost was finally real. But the sighting came at a price. The extreme cold and altitude hit us hard. Shooting at the edge of the cliff, our bodies began to shake, our lungs struggled for air. We had found the ghost on the very first day, but the mountain was already demanding its tribute. This wasn't just a trip anymore, it was a test of survival. The next morning brought a rare moment of comfort. A warm breakfast in the biting cold gave us the energy we desperately needed. This was when Mr. Tenzin introduced us to the team, the local guides and helping hands who would become our brothers for the next 6 days. After the breakfast, we headed back to the bridge. The snow had yet to fall, but the air was razor thin. At this altitude, every 50 steps feels like scaling a vertical peak. Your heart hammers against your ribs, a constant reminder that you are a guest in a land not meant for humans. The leopards were still there, 2 of them, under the bridge, anchored to the kill they had made the day before. We began the grueling process of moving our gear down the slope, setting up tripods on the shifting earth. This valley is beautiful, but it is unforgiving. The drop from the bridge to the valley floor is a staggering 1,000 feet. A single misstep here is final. There is no rescue. A mistake means reaching God before you reach the bottom. Even with the ghosts in sight, the distance remained a challenge. To bridge the gap, I pushed my gear to its limit, using a 3,000mm focal length just to bring the shadows into focus. But the mountain fought back. The wind began to roar with a savage intensity, a relentless force that didn't just blow, it pushed. Even locked down on a heavy tripod, the camera shook continuously. At 3,000mm, every tiny vibration looks like an earthquake. It was heartbreaking. To have the ghost right there in your frame, but be unable to hold the world still enough to capture it. This is the reality behind the lens, the struggle the audience never sees. Then it happened. One sibling was locked onto the kill, consumed by the meal and the raw power of the moment. But the other, the one who hadn't started eating, she was the guardian. While her sibling fed, she sat perfectly still, watching, waiting, and hyper-aware of every shadow in the gorge. Then it happened. She didn't look at her sibling. She didn't look at the meat. She slowly turned her head and looked directly at us. Through 3,000 millimeters of glass, the distance vanished. Our eyes met. In that frozen second, I realized she wasn't just observing the meal. She had been observing us the entire time. Through 3,000 millimeters of glass, our eyes met. There is a chilling magic in being spotted by a predator that usually remains invisible. It knew we were there. It wasn't afraid. It was simply acknowledging our presence from the safety of the cliffs. In that moment, the distance didn't matter. We weren't just spectators. We had been seen by the ghost itself. As the day progressed, the leopards grew heavy and slow. They had spent the last 24 hours feeding, and by now nearly 80% of the kill was gone. Their stomachs were full, and the urgency of the hunt had been replaced by the quiet necessity of digestion. They found a spot where the winter sun hit the rocks just right, basking in a rare moment of peace. But beneath the calm surface, the primal instinct of survival was still at work. Suddenly, one of the leopards stood up and gripped the remains of the carcass. With surprising power, it began to drag the kill away, pulling it toward a more secluded area of the rocks. It wasn't a shared meal anymore. When the second leopard tried to approach, it was met with a clear warning: no closeness allowed. As the afternoon light began to tilt, the encounter reached its natural end. It was a masterclass in camouflage. Even knowing exactly where they were, it was impossible to track them as they moved behind the massive boulders. Slowly, piece by piece, they merged with the grey and ochre of the cliffs. Within minutes, the white ghosts had lived up to their name, disappearing completely from our sight. The stage was empty, but the mountain remained. The temperature stayed constant at -15 degrees, made worse by a wind that never stopped. For a wildlife photographer, this is the true price of admission. You balance the instinct to capture the ghost with the necessity of your own survival. In Spiti, if you lose focus on yourself, the mountain will take notice. This was no longer just about photography. This was about endurance. As the light fades, the heat leaves the valley instantly. We pack our gear with numb fingers and begin the slow trek back to the village. In Chicham, the day doesn't end, it simply moves indoors. We gather around the bukari, the traditional wood-fired stove that serves as the heart of every Spitian home. Here, over cups of tea, the adrenaline of the sighting begins to settle into something deeper. A profound respect for the people who call this frozen desert home. Outside, the Spiti sky reveals its true face. At 14,000 feet, the stars are not just lights. They are a thick silver canopy that feels close enough to touch. The silence is absolute, broken only by the occasional groan of the shifting ice in the gorge below. Tomorrow is a new day with new secrets to uncover. But for tonight, we sleep in the shadow of the ghost. The next morning, we didn't wake up to the sound of an alarm, but to the call of the mountains. The sharp chirps of choughs and the melodic notes of larks filled the frozen air. But at breakfast, the news was bittersweet. The leopards had moved, crossing to the opposite side of the valley. We set out, hoping they had moved closer, but once again the distance was immense. Through the lens, we could see them tucked behind the bushes, but to the naked eye, they were invisible. We made a choice. We wouldn't spend another day staring at distant shadows. Today, we would explore the other inhabitants of Chicham. It didn't take long for the valley to provide. We soon crossed paths with a majestic group of Himalayan ibex, their curved horns silhouetted against the jagged peaks. We set out toward the world's highest petrol pump, searching for the beautiful Red Fox of the north. And then it happened. As we pulled into the station, the sky finally broke. The first snow of the season began to fall. As we climbed higher, the world turned white. We stopped for tea, watching as the mountains began to wear their winter coats. With the snow came the scavengers. Himalayan griffons and vultures began to circle the thermals. And then, the one we had been waiting for, the elusive bearded vulture. We even had a rare encounter with a sensitive Saker falcon, which soared directly over us before settling on a nearby pole. In this freezing world, the sky was as alive as the earth. Suddenly, a call came in, a report of a snow leopard seen right on the road. We rushed to the site, adrenaline pumping. But the ghost lived up to its name. It was gone. By now, it was already lunchtime. We decided to head to a very specific place, a cafe perched on the very top of the mountains. This is the highest point in the entire world where a cafe is located. As we sat there, surrounded by peaks, we saw the footage of the leopard on the fellow traveller's phone, a reminder of how close we were. Fueled by that video and a warm meal, we spent the rest of the evening scouring the roads, searching every shadow, fueled by hope. We didn't find the leopard there, but the pursuit kept us moving as the light began to fail. As we finally turned back toward our homestay in the fading twilight, a final flash of colour caught our eyes. A red fox moving swiftly through the shadows. The light was too low for the perfect shot, but it didn't matter. The day that began with a no from the leopards ended with a yes from the rest of Spiti. We returned to the warmth of the fire, tired, cold, but truly alive. The next morning, the mountain turned against us. The temperature plummeted to -21 degrees, and the visibility vanished into a haze of heavy wind and ice. Everything was frozen. Every step was a struggle. At breakfast, the news was grim. The leopards had vanished. No one knew where they were. We tried. We pushed out into the gale, wearing 5 layers of specialised gear. But the weather was a wall we couldn't climb. We could barely stand for 20 minutes before the cold forced us back. It was a brutal reminder of the reality of life in this terrain. We retreated to our homestay, defeated, staring out at a world of white. By 2 p.m, I couldn't take it anymore. I told my friends and Tapkaji, let's give it one more shot. We prepared for war this time. Warmer packs for our hands, our bodies, our feet. If we could sustain the cold, we would stay. If not, we would return. No idea that everything was about to change. When we reached the field, the miracle happened. The leopards were visible, and the snow had made them joyful. They were moving, stretching, looking directly at us before heading for the peaks. The wind was savage, almost -34 with the wind chill. Even with our tripods weighted down, the lenses shook. Our hands trembled in double-layered gloves, but we couldn't stop shooting. Then the female reached the top, and the male followed. Suddenly, the game began. They started to play, performing hunting techniques, practicing survival skills, a display of pure nature and magic that words simply cannot describe. For the first time, we didn't need the 3,000mm lens to see them. They were right there, giving us a memory of a lifetime in the harshest climate we had ever faced. Our hands moved with the cold, but our hearts were still. We captured the video on the point and shoot due to long reach, and the photos on the main body, documenting a dance that few humans will ever witness. The wind screamed across the ridge, shaking the tripods with a violent force. To keep the focus locked, we did the unthinkable. We stripped off our gloves in the freezing air. Our fingers went numb in seconds, but we needed that raw grip on the shutter. We didn't care. The cold didn't matter anymore. What mattered were the ghosts. They lunged, twisted and struck, perfecting the attack techniques that make them the kings of the heights. But the mountain fought to keep them hidden. Their fur is a perfect mirror of the rock and snow. One blink and they would vanish into the landscape, lost to the naked eye. Every few moments they would stop and look back, as if checking to see if we were still keeping up. It was a high-stakes game of hide and seek at 4,500 meters, a masterclass in invisibility. The mountain had tested us, and in the end, it had chosen to share its greatest secret. Both of them gave us an amazing display, a final show of power and grace, before they drifted closer to Chicham village and disappeared back into the heart of the mountains. They call it the Throne of the Ghost, but for us, it was a 7-day battle of endurance. We didn't just bring back photos. We brought back the memory of blood from our noses, the constant struggle to draw a single breath, and the weight of altitude sickness that threatened to break us. It was crazy, it was dangerous, and it was the greatest adventure of our lives. To my two friends who stood beside me in the -34-degree winds, we went in as free and we came out as brothers. These 7 days changed us. As you look at these images of our journey, know that behind every frame was a moment of doubt and a decision to keep going. We could not have survived this terrain alone. Our deepest gratitude goes to the guardians of these mountains. To Mr. Tenzin and to Tapkaji, your strength, your wisdom and your warmth kept us alive when the mountain tried to freeze our very souls. You are the true heartbeat of Spiti. We leave the valley now, but a piece of us remains in the shadows of the gorge. The snow leopard is no longer just a legend to us. It is a reminder that even in the harshest corners of the world, life finds a way to be magnificent. The ghost is still there, watching, waiting, and now we are part of its story. But the mountain always takes its toll. In the heat of the moment, driven by pure excitement, I made a choice. I pulled off my gloves to feel the camera, to ensure every frame was perfect. By the time the ghosts vanished, my hands were frozen solid. Back at the homestay, the pain was absolute. I had to pour hot water over my skin just to bring back the sense of touch. It was a dangerous move, but in that moment, it was the only way back. As the light failed, we retreated to the warmth of our home, carrying a smile that no amount of cold could crack. Despite facing the most brutal conditions of our lives, we had witnessed a miracle. We saw with our naked eyes what most of the world will only ever see on a screen. That night, we celebrated our victory the only way you can in the Spiti Valley. We raised a glass of arak, the local spirit distilled from rice, a potent, clear liquor designed to keep the blood moving when the world outside is turning to ice. As the local vodka warmed our bodies, we toasted to the mountain, to the people of Chicham, and to the ghosts who finally allowed themselves to be seen. Spiti doesn't give its secrets away easily. You have to earn them through patience, through pain, and through endurance. But when it finally opens its eyes to you, you realise that some things are worth every frozen second. This was the journey of a lifetime. The morning was heavy with more than just the cold. As we packed our gear and stepped out of our homestay, it felt like leaving family. A few final cups of tea, warm smiles, and the simple Julie that echoes through these mountains. We said our goodbyes to the people of Chicham village. But the mountain has a way of shifting your mood in an instant. We hadn't even cleared the edge of the village, near the shadows of the great bridge, when we saw it. We witnessed a scene that was both jarring and deeply revealing. A pack of feral dogs, once domestic, now wild, were working together to hunt a group of ibex. This wasn't a scene of natural balance. It was a glimpse into a changing world. As humans move deeper into these remote valleys, we bring our shadows with us. These dogs are a direct result of our intervention. A new, unintended predator in a landscape that is already a struggle to survive. It was a stark reminder, even here, in the most isolated corners of the Himalayas, the footprint of man is felt. The wild is no longer just fighting the cold and the heights. It is fighting to remain wild. As we began our descent, the tension of the hunt slowly gave way to the unexpected gifts of the trail. The high-altitude winds carried the wings of legends. One by one, we checked off our wish list, rare birds we had only ever dreamed of seeing in the wild. And then, a final miracle. A Tibetan Red Fox glowing in the rare daylight, watching us pass. This journey has been more than a mission. It has been the most beautiful time of our lives. As this chapter closes, we wanted to share these final, quiet moments we captured. The birds, the animals, and the stillness of the peaks. Thank you for walking this path with us. Until our next expedition, keep searching for the wild. And finally, the one who defines these mountains. They call her the ghost of Spiti, a spirit that vanishes as quickly as the wind. But for one brief moment, she chose to stay. She chose to be seen. Witness the master of the peaks, the snow leopard.